Former President Donald Trump has found himself once again at the center of intense scrutiny as his recent public appearances and social media posts have reignited growing concerns about his mental and physical health. What began as a confident attempt to portray himself as vigorous and fit for another term in the White House has rapidly backfired, with analysts, former aides, and even some Republican insiders now questioning whether his obsession with projecting strength is revealing deeper issues about his fitness for office. In a series of interviews, speeches, and online posts, Trump has repeatedly attacked his political rivals over their age and mental acuity, portraying himself as the picture of vitality while painting others, particularly President Joe Biden, as frail and incapable. Yet in a twist that few anticipated, his own behavior has become the story. Increasingly erratic public comments, apparent confusion during rallies, and a string of bizarre online rants have shifted the narrative away from Biden's age and toward Trump's own state of mind. Political observers note that Trump's fixation on defending his health has become self-destructive. His insistence on proving that he is physically superior has led to several awkward moments that have gone viral. During a rally in Michigan, Trump seemed to lose his train of thought mid-sentence, confusing names and dates before changing topics. Clips from that event spread widely online, fueling speculation that his mental sharpness may be declining. His spokesperson dismissed the incident as a simple verbal stumble, but medical experts and psychologists have since weighed in, suggesting that repeated moments of confusion could be cause for concern, especially for a man in his late 70s who was under immense stress. Trump's critics have seized the opportunity, pointing to the irony of his long campaign to brand Biden as mentally unfit while exhibiting questionable behavior himself. Social media has been flooded with split-screen videos comparing Trump's past speeches from 2016 with his recent appearances, showing noticeable differences in tone, pacing, and coherence. His once confident and controlled delivery now often gives way to rambling tangents, slurred words, and exaggerated gestures. Former White House officials who worked closely with Trump have also begun to speak out. One former aide, speaking under condition of anonymity, described the former president's growing obsession with his health as borderline compulsive. According to this source, Trump frequently demanded to see flattering photos of himself, asked aides to emphasize his stamina in press briefings, and insisted on controlling the narrative surrounding his weight and fitness. He would often ask, "Do I look strong enough? Do I look healthy?" The aide recalled. He hated the idea of anyone thinking he was getting old. This fixation has now evolved into a defining feature of his campaign. Trump often boasts about his physical abilities, at times comparing himself to professional athletes and claiming he has the energy of a man half his age. At a recent rally in Florida, he declared, "I'm the healthiest president in history," before mocking Biden for appearing tired during a public event. But the optics have not always favored Trump. His visible struggle to walk down a ramp during a West Point ceremony in 2020 and his awkward gestures while drinking water during a speech have been repeatedly replayed online, drawing ridicule from opponents. While Trump brushed off those moments at the time, their resurfacing in the current political climate has only amplified doubts about his fitness. The controversy deepened when Trump's latest medical evaluation, released through his campaign, faced questions over credibility. The brief statement from his personal physician described him as being in excellent health, without providing detailed data. Critics noted that similar glowing health reports had been issued during his presidency, often filled with vague claims and superlatives that lacked medical transparency. Dr. James Stewart, a political health analyst, told reporters that such reports raise more questions than they answer. Stewart explained that voters expect transparency from presidential candidates, particularly those of advanced age, and that Trump's reluctance to provide concrete medical information fuels public suspicion. Beyond physical concerns, much of the current conversation centers on Trump's mental stability. His increasingly unfiltered online outbursts have alarmed even some of his closest allies. On his social media platform Truth Social, Trump has posted late-night tirades accusing journalists, prosecutors, and political opponents of conspiring against him. The tone of these messages has grown more erratic, often filled with capital letters and personal insults. A recent post in which Trump claimed he was being persecuted worse than any man in history drew widespread attention and prompted psychologists to comment on his escalating victim mentality. Dr. Laura Jennings, a clinical psychologist who has studied political behavior, said that Trump's communication patterns exhibit clear signs of grandiosity and paranoia, traits commonly associated with narcissistic and obsessive tendencies. What we are witnessing is someone who feels their control slipping away and compensates by doubling down on exaggerated self-portrayals, Jennings explained. The Trump campaign has dismissed such analyses as politically motivated attacks, insisting that the former president is sharper than ever. However, insiders within the Republican Party are reportedly growing uneasy. Several GOP strategists privately admit that Trump's behavior could alienate moderate voters, particularly those already fatigued by years of political chaos. One longtime Republican consultant noted that Trump's health fixation has become a distraction at a time when his campaign should be focusing on policy. Every time he tries to show he's healthy, it becomes a meme, the consultant said. It's not helping him, it's hurting him. Meanwhile, Democrats have been quick to capitalize on the situation. Biden's campaign has quietly allowed the story to circulate without overtly commenting, calculating that the focus on Trump's erraticism works in their favor. Political talk shows and late-night programs have featured segments analyzing Trump's recent speeches, often juxtaposing them with his own past claims about mental fitness. In one viral moment, comedian Stephen Colbert joked that Trump sounds like a man who lost an argument with his teleprompter. Internationally, Trump's behavior has also drawn notice. European media outlets have covered the growing debate over his mental state, describing his latest rallies as unpredictable and unusually emotional. British and German newspapers have published analyses comparing Trump's demeanor in 2024 to his earlier campaigns, highlighting a sharper edge of agitation and defensiveness. In the United States, medical experts continue to stress the importance of transparency for both major candidates. While Biden has released periodic updates about his medical status, Trump's refusal to do so has created a vacuum filled by speculation. The situation is reminiscent of the 2016 campaign, when questions about Hillary Clinton's health dominated headlines after she collapsed during a public event. Now, some analysts say Trump is facing his own version of the scrutiny. Adding to the tension, reports have emerged that Trump's advisors have urged him to reduce the length of his rallies and cut back on unscripted comments to minimize gaffes. According to campaign insiders, the former president has resisted these suggestions, insisting that his off-the-cuff style is part of his appeal. He thinks every time he goes off script, he's connecting with his base, one aide said. But the truth is, those are the moments that create the biggest headaches for us. Despite these challenges, Trump remains defiant. During a recent interview on conservative radio, he dismissed questions about his health as fake news propaganda, claiming that Democrats were terrified of his energy. He then pivoted to discussing his golf scores, saying he regularly outperforms men half his age. However, these boasts have done little to calm the growing perception that Trump's behavior is increasingly erratic. Even within conservative media circles, subtle shifts are emerging. Commentators who once praised Trump's vigor have begun to express concern. On Fox News, one panelist noted that Trump's energy seems more manic than confident, while another remarked that the constant need to prove he's the strongest man in the room may reflect insecurity rather than assurance. As the 2024 race intensifies, Trump's health narrative has become both a weapon and a weakness. For his supporters, it reinforces the image of a leader who refuses to back down, no matter the criticism. For his detractors, it's further evidence of instability. What unites both sides is a recognition that Trump's public persona is increasingly defined by his own defensiveness. Political historian David Larson summed it up succinctly. Trump built his brand on strength, dominance, and control. Now, every time he feels that image threatened, he overcompensates. That's not strength, it's fear masquerading as power. As Trump continues his campaign trail with rallies scheduled across key swing states, all eyes are on his performance. Each speech, each gesture, each unscripted remark is now analyzed for signs of decline. In the age of viral clips and relentless media coverage, even a minor slip can spiral into a national controversy. Whether Trump's health obsession will help or haunt him in the long run remains uncertain. What is clear is that his attempt to weaponize fitness as a political talking point has turned against him. Instead of convincing the public of his vitality, it has sparked a conversation about his vulnerability. As polls show mixed reactions among voters, with independents citing temperament and stability as key concerns, Trump's campaign faces a difficult balancing act. They must protect his image without feeding the very doubts they seek to dispel. For now, the former president remains determined to prove that he is as sharp and strong as ever. Yet with every outburst and every misp, the question of his mental fitness lingers, threatening to overshadow his political message. In the race for the White House, perception can be as powerful as reality, and Trump's relentless drive to control that perception may ultimately become his greatest undoing.